Okay, I'm just setting up the live stream. I shouldn't be too long. Just putting the YouTube stream on a second screen so I can see any comments as they happen and hopefully respond to them as we go. Okay, so we have the Cessna Citation CJ3 in front of us on the ground at Stansted Airport with live weather on, and we're going to take it for a flight from Stansted over to Liverpool to try the aeroplane out. So we're going to have a look around the aeroplane first. I'm just going to turn the speed of the drone camera down a bit so we can actually look around it in some sort of sedate manner. That's better. Okay, so this has been developed by LivToAir, and they very graciously given me a copy of it or they approached me a couple of weeks ago actually, if I wanted to come and have a look at it. So it will be coming out for sale in a few days' time. I'm not sure where we'll be selling it yet, but I thought we'd go and have a look around it on the ground at Stansted and take it for a flight and see how we get on with it. So if we go and... The really misty weather is really affecting the frame rate in the simulator. So what I may do is change our weather. But no, because then it won't agree with air traffic control. We'll leave it as it is. So we'll have a look around the model. You can see it's really nicely put together. The only thing I would say about it is some of the textures aren't as high resolution as we've become accustomed to, but then I'm not going to complain too much about that. So you can see there's quite a lot of detail built into the model. It's a lone developer as far as I'm aware. So I don't know what price point it's going to be at yet. But it looks pretty good. You'll see what I mean. If you get really close, you can see the pixels. But obviously, we're really kind of, pulling it to pieces to say that sort of thing. It's got some interesting features, hasn't it, about the design of the CJ3. This like ribbed shape that obviously helps the airflow over the surfaces. So if we come back round to the door and go into the aircraft, we'll have a look around it on the inside. Okay, so this looks like a little bit of a bug. We've got is that the pilot or the co-pilot that sat in the wrong place? Looks like the co-pilot sat in the wrong place when the doors open. Which is interesting because the toilet is back here, I think. Yeah, he's kind of wedged in, so I'm sure that sort of thing will get fixed. Remember, this is a pre-release version of the aeroplane. It hasn't been completely finished, but it's finished enough for us to go fly it. So, as you can see, it's got G1000s in the cockpit. Everything looks very neat and tidy. It doesn't maybe look as photorealistic as some of the other airplanes around, but it's not bad at all. Okay, so should we go and get it fired up? So we're going to go and close the door. I think we control the door mechanism from the pilot's seat. So if we go and turn the power on, I'm going to go and turn the volume up so you get to hear all of the sounds as well as we can. So we're going to close and lock the door. We don't need the GPU to start the airplane as far as I'm aware. So we'll have a good look around and see what we can do. So if we click on the yoke, it's got this nice feature, a bit like some of the other airplanes where it lowers the yoke. The CRJs do the same trick, don't they? So we've got the battery power on, which has powered up some of the screens. Obviously not everything's up and running yet. And we'll give it a few seconds and have a look around some of the other features. So see, we've got the lights over here. So we are going to be firing the engines up very shortly, so we'll go and put the anti-collision lights on. You can see screens are coming awake. So we've got the, if we go into PFD settings, is it? We can go and choose whether we have, or what overlay settings we have. It might be in, interesting, I can't remember my way around this. There's so many features in the various systems, aren't there? Very cool. Anyway, we'll get the plane up and running and then we'll have a proper look around. So we've got the familiar autopilot or mode control panel for the autopilots up here. And we've got the familiar Garmin's, we've got the screen over here. If we come back to the main menu of the screen, we can go into SimBrief and we can see our flight plan there from Stansted over to Liverpool. So it loaded that on the flight based on our most recent flight plan. If you go into the settings, you can see all kinds of stuff that you can do in this tablet. It's got tons of features. We can go and look in Navigraph as well. We can link our account. Should we try that live? So it gives us a QR code. And I'll just grab my phone, point it at the computer screen, and that lets me into Navigraph, sign in as me, and approve it. And it should refresh momentarily with the Navigraph interface. And here it comes. So obviously we can pull up the charts in here, which is good. If we go back to the main menu, then we've got a little notepad. We can actually draw pictures. God knows why we want to, but we've got a world map, which is really cool. And you can switch that out for the Navigraph one by the look of it, which is even, oh look, they've got a custom aeroplane symbol as well. Very cool. So the more I dig into this aeroplane, the more things I find that I really like. So obviously you've got the settings there for weight and balance as well. So you can go and meddle with the aeroplane, but you can load this from SimBrief. Yeah, so if we set those weights, you can see the aeroplane sags onto its suspension. Very, very clever. Okay, so we need to go and get our route programmed in, but before we do that, should we sit on the, if we go back to the aeroplane, should we go and connect the GPU for the moment? Do we have to select that we're using the GPU? So we're going to arm the emergency light while we've got the power on. We'll go and put the standby flight display on. So we've got that one switched on now. Very cool. Ice protection, windshield, anti-ice, fuel boost, fuel transfer. So while we've got the power onto the aeroplane, should we go and see about starting the engines up? So if we were to go and watch the numbers over here, so we got the N2 coming up, and if we then advance throttle to idle, it will introduce the fuel. So we'll sit here with the engines running. Let's have a look outside. So you can see the animation happening. It's really nicely done, isn't it? And we'll do the same for the other engine. So you can see the numbers coming up. Okay, while we're waiting for the engines to come up, let's go and have a look. Oh, before we do anything else, we need to put the air source to both to start getting the cabin pressurization ready. So it's in norm at the moment, that's good. We didn't need fuel boost, which is interesting. The documentation hasn't been written for this airplane yet, so we're kind of finding our way as we go. Shouldn't be too difficult. We got the pitot static heats over here. We won't switch those on until we start taxiing out. Passenger safety we'll put on. Actually, no, we just want the seatbelt light, don't we? Wing inspection light, we don't need that. We're not expecting icing today. Okay, let's go and have a look then at SimBrief. Refresh list. So EGSS to EGGP request in progress. Ready for import. Import. So there's our basic routing. If we go down, we got the Utava waypoint, then the airways, then arrival. So we've got Trent, and going through Keygun into runway 09, but there's no ILS details in here. So if we go and select this, let's go and have a look and see how this might work. Home. Just having a dig around to see what we've got in here. So we've got map settings, traffic, weather, charts, procedures. That's what we're looking for. Arrival and approach. We want ILS for 09, that's correct. We'll load it. Okay. So then we've got all of the details of the flight in, all the way down to the from Keygun, doing the approach all the way in. So that's really cool. So it hasn't got any discontinuities in here as far as I can see. We have to use the up and down buttons. Okay, so we've got an alarm going off. Generator's off. Okay, we're running the batteries down. So generators are over here. It's very cool, isn't it? So within the computer, we've done the initialization. Should we go and see what's in there though? So we're using SimBrief. And we're going to do the weight and fuel. So if we say set empty weight, enter. Crew and stores, we've got the payload. Can we not pull this from SimBrief somehow? Interesting. Cancel. Back. Use SimBrief. What does that do? Now, did that reset the approach? Yes, it did. Okay, this jumps around a little bit, doesn't it, between the different sections. So if we just go into procedures again and go and reselect ILS and load it and OK it, and that puts that back in. So we're going to leave things pretty straightforward. There's obviously bits and pieces we don't quite understand how they've been implemented yet to do with the initialization process. But we're not going to get too caught up in that. If we go and have a look in aircraft systems, so we've got the exterior lights there. We'll put the navigation lights to on. The beacon light we won't put on until we get to the runway. Okay, so engines are up and running. We don't want to sit on them all day long because otherwise we'll get into all sorts of trouble. So let's go and talk to SayIntentions and get some clearance for our flight. We're Virtual 073 today, by the way, our flight number. So Stansted clearance, Virtual 073, requesting clearance as filed to Liverpool.
I'll have your clearance in just a second. Virtual 073, you still have an open flight plan. Please be sure to close that one first via the new flight button.
Okay. Oh, I have to come into SayIntentions to say new flight. Okay, it's picked up my last lot of details. That's interesting. I didn't know it could do that. So it must be remembering where you were now. So let's try that again.
Clearance. Good afternoon, FTX Stan 24. We are a Vision jet. We have information India on board, and we'd like our IFR clearance to Manchester. Stansted clearance FTX 323. We'd like to use the Utava 10 departure.
Stansted clearance, Virtual 073, requesting clearance to Liverpool as filed.
Clear to Manchester via the Utah 1 Sierra departure. Climb maintain 4000, departure 13205, squawk 1143, SVX.
1 second while I grab the paperwork.
Hopefully I'll get back to
Virtual
a
073. Information Juliet is current. Cleared to Liverpool via the Utah 1 Sierra departure. Departure runway 4. Initial climb to 4,000 feet. Departure on 120.625. Squawk 2624.
Cleared to Liverpool via the Utah 1 Sierra departure. Runway 4. Initial climb 4,000 feet. Departure 120.625. Squawk 2624. Virtual 073. So we need to go and set the transponder before we do much else, otherwise I'll forget.
Virtual 073. Read back correct. Ground is on 121.73. Safe flight, sir.
So we have to try and find out where we set the transponder in this thing. So what was it they wanted? 264. And enter. And our initial climb will be 4,000 feet. So altitude selector goes to... Oh, it accelerates. That's interesting. So that's 4,000 feet dialed in. We're going to go... we're taking off runway 04. So we want... I think it's 40... Is it 45 degrees? So let's go and pull up the chart for Stansted to try and remember this. 42 degrees. So we want to set the initial heading bug to 42. Because we have a flight plan programmed in, we should be able to go nav mode straight away, and it's in FMS mode, which means the same as GPS, basically. Is this a touchscreen version of? No, it isn't. So we've got FMS mode. Okay, and to take off, we'll dial in. Interesting. Where is it showing the vertical speed rate we've dialed in? It isn't, is it? So if I went to vertical speed, will it show it then? Yes. So if I went for 2,500 feet a minute for an initial climb out. But we could... So yeah, this doesn't have auto throttles, so it's going to be using either... No, it doesn't have... Oh, it has speed mode as well. Okay, so if we switch to speed mode, this will be controlling the speed for the climb out as well. So we could do that with speed mode, but we'll use FLC. Sorry, vertical speed. To get to our target altitude. Let's go and press comma.
Clearance on request. Stand by.
Shortcut the
Clear to Edinburgh by the Utah 1 Romeo departure.
barometric pressure.
22, climb 4,000, departure on 120.
So we've got FMS navigation mode and vertical speed mode.
45 Blue Max. 42 Echo Zulu.
So where's our... do we have taxi
Blue
lights?
Max
There's
42
landing
Echo
lights.
Zulu.
Okay, that goes to
Read back
taxi.
correct. Ground is on 121.73. Safe flight, sir.
So seatbelts are on. We're
Good
going to turn
morning,
the
Blue
PT
Max
heats on
2814,
and
request
taxi up to runway
RFR.
04. Do we need to be pushed back? We probably do, don't we? Just press Alt and P and see if this lines up. These usually don't line up with the airplanes very well. Oh, we need to go and get rid of the truck. Disconnect the GPU. I've taken the parking brake off, so it should push us back pretty easily. There we go. We just need enough room to turn around, really. And it's pushing us the right way for a change. Hurrah! So if I press Alt and P, that's interesting, the pilot's in the wrong place, because he appeared in the right place the other day when I played with this. So it's obviously a little bit of a glitch there, but like I said, it's a pre-release version. So they should take the truck away from us. I'm just going to check. I thought I'd set the controls already. So this is my first flight in the airplane, by the way. So I'm finding out the same time you're seeing it. I thought I'd already set this. Yeah, I have. Save and back. So let's go and turn on head tracking. We don't get a co-pilot sat in here with us, do we? No. So ease the throttles forwards. Steering is good. There's a bit of a ramp here, isn't there? Okay, so we're going to talk to ground. I should have got clearance from ground for the pushback, really, but probably not from this side of the airport. It's not anywhere near as busy as that's the commercial side over there. So let's go to ground and request taxi to runway 04. Stansted ground, virtual 073, requesting taxi runway 04. And they will give us probably
virtual Golf. 073, taxi to runway 04 via Golf.
Yeah, there you go. Taxi to runway 04 via Golf, virtual 073. So it doesn't like turning at speed. It's very rare that I come over this side of the airfield. Oh, there's somebody coming in. They seem to be going a bit quick.
Virtual 073, contact tower on 123.805, safe flight.
Contact tower 123.805, virtual 073, good day. I'll contact them when I come to a hold. I'm not going to do it straight away. So I'm going to come to the holding point for runway 04. Okay. Stansted Tower, virtual 073, holding short runway 04 for departure as filed to Liverpool.
Virtual 73, Stansted Tower, runway 4, hold short, Skyhawk on the runway. Virtual 73, Stansted Tower, runway 04, wind 040 at 13, cleared for takeoff.
I think you just had a bit of a problem. Runway 04, wind 040 at 13, cleared for takeoff, virtual 073. So whoever that was buzzing the runway has gone. There's nothing coming in as far as I can see over there. So there is going to be this issue at the moment. Oh no, I tell a lie, something's flying over. There's this issue at the moment that SayIntentions doesn't have full sight of the AI aircraft in the sim. That situation is going to change, but I can't show you it yet. So we've been given clearance to take off, so we may as well just go. So full throttle. raised the gear a bit too quickly there. We nearly sagged onto the belly of the aeroplane. It's interesting that it allowed that to happen. Okay, so it should take up. Yes, it's taken up the FMS
Virtual
mode.
073. Contact departure on 120.625 5 and says.
Contact departure 120.625 virtual 073. Good day. Stansted departures virtual 073 with you. Departing runway 04 on the departure as filed for Liverpool.
Virtual 73, Stansted radar identified. Cleared direct D044B.
Going a bit fast.
Virtual 073, climb flight level 180.
Climbing flight level 180, virtual 073.
Golf, Delta Papa Roger, maintain 7,000.
Stansted radar, British Medical, Mike Delta 26 with you at 3,000 feet for ILS 22 approach.
British Medical, Mike Delta 26, Stansted radar, Roger.
So we'll do a flight level change to get that. And we'll open the engines up. Watch this thing go. So flaps are up, gear is up. Look at it climb. 5,500 feet a minute. That's nuts, isn't it? To 18,000, wasn't it? So we've just gone through the transition altitude. Whoa, that's just zeroed that out. If you press the altitude knob then. And I've done it again. This is just learning the ways of the aeroplane. And we're going far too fast now for the altitude we're at. Hopefully we won't get reprimanded for it. And because we did that increase in speed, look, it's pushed us out on the flight plan. It's quite cool that it showed that so accurately. So we should be doing flight level change. Is there a transition? Sorry, a constraint that we're following here? 8,000 feet? No, there isn't. Why is it holding at 8,000? We've commanded 18,000. We do need to change the barometric pressure though. So there's the baro. Does that press to go to standard? Yes, it does. Why is that not working? Let's try toggling flight level change again. And okay, I get it. It's kind of like it's using speed mode in flight level change. So that's why it wasn't climbing. You live and learn. So we've got TCAS operating, which is quite cool. So if you go and look over there. So it's in TARA automatically by the look of it. It's fascinating that it did that. And look at the climb rate. Oh my word. I mean, okay, we're going full throttle and we wouldn't normally. Like, we're at 99.9% N1. Let's pull that back a bit. So maybe 95. We're not in that much of a hurry. And can we sort the range out on this display somehow? So PFD, what's the primary flight display? What about the navigation display controls?
Virtual 073, contact London Control on 126.875.
Contacting London Control 126.875 virtual 073. Good day. London Control virtual 073 with you, climbing to 18,000 feet en route to Liverpool. That's filed.
Virtual 7-3, London Control. Identified. Good afternoon.
London Control, good day. Ryanair 75 Yankee Alpha 130 climbing to...
So far this has been fine, hasn't it?
Ryanair 75 Yankee Alpha, London Control. Identified. Good afternoon.
We never put the landing lights on, did we?
Ryanair 75 Yankee Alpha.
It's my classic thing I miss at the moment.
Ground flight level 380, Ryanair 75 Yankee Alpha.
So what was the flight level we were given on our flight plan? It just was 18,000. Wonder if we can request higher. So we're only just coming out towards Buzad. And then we're going to fly off towards the Trent VOR along the airway here. So, where's the simulator gone? There it is. It's good, isn't it? So this is the CJ3.
Virtual 7-3, London Control. Expect the Alpha 1 Lima arrival. Descent in about 15 minutes.
Copy information, Virtual 073. So we've got a little while to zoom across the country. Shall we look from outside? Certainly looks the part, doesn't it? Let's go and have a little look then. I'll turn the head tracking off to do this. Orientation map detail. Range is down here. So we should be able to go. There we go. Get a bit better range on our map when we're in cruise. There's TCAS on the right hand side. I'm guessing we can split that back off somehow. Is that the second screen control? So if we go full, there we go. Because then we can just have TCAS in the corner of the primary flight display. And you can see more of what's going on. So there should be a way of switching off the synthetic ground, and I can't remember where it is. PFD settings, attitude overlays, there we go. Synthetic terrain, we can turn it off. We don't really want it. There we go. Much more better, as Captain Jack might say. We're on the edge of overspeeding, so this is one of the issues you get with aircraft that don't have an auto throttle. So I'm just edging us away from that, and we're going to set a nice throttle level to cruise. So 315 knots or so. Just to give ourselves a small margin. Yeah, it's creeping up again. Look, let's just edge the throttle back to about 89% by the look of it. Will hold us just short of overspeeding. So how long is this going to take? It's not going to take very long, is it? So we're flying 18,000 feet IFR. Let's go and open... Have I got an aircraft performance file?
Scottish Control on 134.43 Shamrock, someone say good day.
I think I've got a CJ4.
This is Golf Juliet Mike Romeo Hotel, 12,000 feet, requesting descent into Bristol Airport, runway 27.
Ground flight level 360,
Just looking to see if it was
468.
going to estimate a descent point, but it isn't, is it? So there's quite a lot of learning happened in quite short order there. There's a slight glitch here, look, with the engine fire switch is flickering. Hope they fix that before it gets released. So you can see here, look, we've got cruise, climb and take off to tents. I would imagine that these buttons should have changed what it says on them or something when we pressed them as well. There was no real feedback there, was there? Let's have a look and see what we've got in here then. So if we go into Navigraph, and we can go and look at our star for today. Obviously it's not helping us in terms of the link to SimBrief, so we can go look it up. It's the EVO ELV01 left. Oh, actually we need to look for the airport, don't we? EGPP for... do we have a backspace key? Delete. So EGPP. Enter. What was that? EGGP, sorry. EGGP. Enter. There we go. So we're coming in via Elvos. Let's go and have a quick look just to make sure. No, we're coming in via Trent. Elvo1 left. So there's Trent, okay. Oh, that makes sense. So yeah, we're coming in here towards the key gun, which is like the transition into the approach. So if we go and look at the approaches, we can look at 09 ILS. ILS runway 09. So we'll be coming in from key gun. Interesting, but we'll be vectored in because there is no flight plan between. You can see it's yellow here on little nav map. So between, you can see that as well on Navigraph if I get my life sorted out. So we're flying at the moment along, here we go, we're flying along the airways. There's the beginning of the start, and as you'll see there's a dotted line. So we'll be anticipating vectors as we approach key gun to put us onto the approach. So that's a good point actually, we need to go and get this into the aeroplane. 11175 and 86 degrees. So how do we do that in this aeroplane? Let's have a look. There's the radios are up here. There's comm radios, audio and radios, nav1, which you'd expect it to use for the ILS. And we said it was 11175. And then transfer that to active. So we've got that on nav1 now. So then we just need to know how to change the CDI mode, which is not always obvious in these things.
Max forward to Echo Zulu at flight level 10 for flight level 130.
WingMax 42, Echo Zulu, London Control, climb flight level 340. Ryanair 417, London Control, climb flight level 330.
Yeah, active nav is FMS, okay, so that's how we switch to ILS when we get into approach. Okay, so we're looking okay so far. It's kind of throwing it in the deep end, isn't it? Doing an IFR flight with a plane we've never flown before. But it's a good way to learn, because you have, you know, definite things you need to do, rather than just messing around, flying around in circles, trying things out. Cross-side GCC in full screen mode. Okay, oh, so this controls the right-hand side of the screen by the look of it. So if we went half screen, then this lights up, and then we can control this side over here. So then the range will be the range of TCAS. There we go. Very cool. So then if we go full screen this side, then this disables, because... Very good. Okay, that's nice and sensible. Do the breakers work? No. Not that I can see yet. So what other controls do we have? We've got parking brakes, we've got the control lock, emergency brake. landing gear lever. Temperature select, normal, manual. I suspect on takeoff we actually had my controls stick. I've had this happen a few times recently. I think I might need to buy a new quadrant at some point. I've had it happen a few times where it's given the wrong indication and I had to wiggle it and it was a bit sticky on the actual hardware. And then I don't know whether something's been spilt on it by somebody, I don't know. But after exercising it, I ought to go through, I guess, the routine of exercising all the levers before I start the simulator or something. Just to make sure everything's working as intended, so I don't get caught out. I've had a few times with the flap lever where it was showing full flaps and I wiggled it and it went back to 0 flaps. So I think it's one of those things, as long as you actually check your control movements are good before you get anywhere near the runway, you should be okay. It's probably a common issue, I would imagine. So, can we play with the lights? Oh, sorry, the shades. Yes, we can. How do we put that back? Okay, now I have a shade I can't get rid of. I can move it all over the cockpit though, which is kind of interesting. I can't put it back where I want it to go back. Okay, we have a problem. Do we just click it or something? Is there a click spot to fold it back up? Yes, there is. That would explain that one. Again, learning as we go. So we dropped down to about 290. Let's push the throttles forwards a little bit.
5 Mike Romeo, Diamond 5 Mike Romeo, climb flight level 260.
Diamond 5 Mike Romeo, negative. You are, I'm looking to maintain flight level 160, please.
It's a shame when I'm sure this is something SayIntentions will improve upon. They fill dead airspace with past conversations if you let them, but they don't always pair the request and the response together. It would be really good if they did, but I imagine that would cause an enormous amount more programming to get that to do that nicely. So should we have a look at what's going on outside? So this is the LivToAir CJ3. It's good, isn't it? Very pretty. When we land, I'll open up all the access doors so you get to see inside them. So all the nose doors and everything will open up.
073, cleared, Elvo 1, Lima, arrival into Liverpool. Whenever you'd like, descend flight level 060, QNH 1024.
Descending flight level 060, QNH 1024, virtual 073. So we're going to descend to 6,000 feet. So let's go and set the altitude selector to 6,000. Whenever I would like. Next Tuesday. 6,000. There we go. And to get that, we can either use vertical speed or flight level change mode. So if you remember, flight level change allowed us to set the target airspeed to descend at. So we're going to go right back to 250 knots and pull the throttles back. So it won't descend until it gets anywhere near the target airspeed. We want to go to 250. So I'm just going to wind it back to 250 knots on the target. Though it's already going, look, it's interesting. It shouldn't really be. But it's only coming down at 1,000 feet a minute until, I'm guessing, until it gets to the target airspeed, and then it will go. Again, this is learning the particular aeroplane about how it behaves in the particular situations. And then we can obviously use power to control our descent rate, because we've asked it to maintain 250 knots in the descent. So it's going to come down about 2,500 feet a minute by the look of it. So 3,000 feet a minute even. So let's go and increase the power, which will reduce that descent rate. So bringing the power back up to 70%. Thereabouts. Do we get an estimate line on here? No, we don't. So we have to do some maths in our head if we want to play those games. I think it's still going to be 6,000 feet for the... No, it's 5,000 feet at Liverpool transition altitude. So...
Virtual 073, contact Liverpool approach on 118.4595.
Contacting Liverpool approach 118.455, virtual 073. Liverpool approach, virtual 073 on the Evo 1 Lima arrival for Liverpool, as filed. I should have really told them what altitude we're descending to. It's taking a while to get back to us, aren't they? Call them again, make sure we've got it tuned in. Let's check the comm frequency that we've got. We've got comm 118455, that's correct. Liverpool approach, comm check, virtual 073.
Virtual 73, Liverpool approach, identified. Good afternoon. Expect the ILS runway 9 are approaching to Liverpool.
Hello, Liverpool approach, virtual 073, descending on the I think it's descending on the Elvo 1 Lima star. I should have known that. This is where it pays to have a piece of paper in front of you, and I've gone without that today.
Virtual 073, identified. Good afternoon.
So we need to get to 6,000 feet initially. That's interesting, they've given us 6,000 feet, because I'm pretty sure, I looked at this when I first got it from Navigraph. Yeah, look, that's 7,000. So we wouldn't be descending any lower than 7,000 until we get beyond that, which is really odd. So I'm going to, although saying that, this is an interesting one. On climb out, you can, this is, yeah, there's a difference between departure and arrival with whether you follow instruction from ATC to the letter or whether you follow the printed chart. And I'm pretty sure on arrival you follow the chart. On departure you follow the instructions, so ATC take precedence. So we really should only be coming down to 7,000 feet. And we're aiming to get to 7,000 feet at Keygun. So we've only got a couple of thousand feet to go. So we're below 10,000 feet now, so the landing lights can come back on. Should we go and have a look at them, see what they look like from outside? Can't really see them in this broad daylight, which is a bit of a shame. Okay, 1,500 feet to go. So bearing in mind that there is no flight plan in between Keygun and the approach, we should receive vectors when we get there. We'll see what happens. Also, we have
Lose
to remember...
1159, contact London Control on 133.6.
We'll also remember that when we get to 7,000 feet, the aeroplane will speed up. So we'll have to cut the throttle at that point.
Virtual 073, descend altitude 3500, maintain current heading 275 vectors for the ILS runway 9 approach.
Descend altitude 3,500, maintain current heading 275 vectors for the ILS runway 9 approach, virtual 073. So let's go and ask the controller to confirm that they want us to descend before key gun. Liverpool approach, virtual 073. Do you want us to descend before key gun? Our flight plan says key gun at 7,000 feet.
Virtual 073, descend altitude 3500 feet before key gun.
Okay, they want us to do it. I'm just confirming that so to make sure. It's a little bit irregular, but there we go. So we'll do flight level change down to key gun. And we'll keep the speed down now. We could let it go a bit faster. 250 knots is the limit, obviously below 10,000 feet. And we need to go and check. They told us the QNH, didn't they? Or did they? We can find it out. So if we go information for Liverpool, open the airport, go to weather, and we got 1026 or 3030. So let's go and change the baro. Press it to come back out standard. 3030, wasn't it? There we go. So our altitude now agrees with the ground. Let's get the range on this dial down a bit so we can see the approach. So we're going to carry on. If you remember what they said, maintain current heading 275 vectors for the ILS runway 9 approach. So we're going to go heading mode and go 275, which is what they told us. I imagine they'll vector us across to intercept the approach very soon. Remember, we'll need to switch CDI modes as well, so the switch down for that is here. So coming down towards 3,000 feet, if we look outside, we can actually see Liverpool's the other side of the river over there. So now we've leveled out, or yeah, we're 3,500 feet. So the speed's coming off because we're not descending anymore. So let's go and increase the throttle gently. It's gone to altitude hold automatically at 3,500. So just checking, that was 3,500 they gave us, wasn't it? Yeah, 3,500 before key gun. Let's go and try and get this camera in a nice place so you get to see something outside rather than just me wrestling with the instruments. Now, from what they told us, I'm going to hold this at 220 knots now. I don't want to get much slower. That's going to speed up now, isn't it? The engines are taking a while to spool. From what they told us, let's go and have a read. Maintain current heading, vectors for the ILS runway 9 approach. So we're waiting for the vectors. So landing lights are on, just double checking things. Barometric pressure is done. I'm not sure what the, whoops, maximum gear speed, 200, minimum.
Virtual 073, turn right, heading 295.
Turn right, heading 295, virtual 073. So we'll do exactly as we're told.
Virtual 073, 9 miles from CF09er, turn right, heading 360, descend altitude 2500 until established on the localizer, cleared for the ILS runway 9er approach.
Turn right, heading 360, descend, oh no, sorry. 9 miles from CF09, turn right, heading 360, descend altitude 2500 until established on localizer, cleared for ILS, runway 9 approach, virtual 073. That's a lot to take in, isn't it? So, 9 miles from CF09, let's have a look. So, if we go measure, so about there is where we want to go and turn 360. So we're waiting until we're 9 miles from it, according to his instruction. So let's get the range down on this again. So we can see CF09's over there. And they also wanted us to descend, didn't they? Descend altitude 2500 until established on the localizer. So let's get the altitude down for another 1,000 feet while we're doing this. Do a flight level change to get there, and we can pull the throttle back to allow the descent to happen. And let's go and turn our heading now back towards CF09, or 360 wasn't it they wanted. So heading so it's just squaring off. We're effectively doing the base leg of a pattern to come into the ILS. We're not descending very quickly, are we? So let's go and manipulate the speed slightly and pull it back to 200 knots. And pull the throttle back to get there. It's 2,500 feet. Hold the power and start turning right. Now if we want to, at this point, we could go and change the active nav to localizer, and there it goes. The course of the runway is 86 degrees, that's correct. So we're slightly off to the left. We could go for approach mode now if it's got it. There we go, approach mode. So it should go slightly to the right, it will crab across to get onto the centre line, and glide slope still above us, so that's all good. About 7.5 miles out. You can see the runway out there in the distance. The weather is obscuring the ground quite a lot. So we're now on the localizer. So should we go and tell Liverpool approach. Liverpool approach, virtual 073 engaged on localizer approach for runway 09. I really should write these things down and have them in front of me so I can read them out accurately.
Cleared for the ILS approach to runway 09er at Liverpool.
Cleared for approach, runway 09 at Liverpool, runway virtual 073. Yeah, I definitely, for future IFR flights, need to have a notepad in front of me so I can reel off. Now, the interesting thing is I've written an IFR reference sheet that's available for download online. I'm not using it. And if I had it, it would make my transmissions so much easier. So yeah, Stephen's got some great comments there in the live stream about the precedence of instruction and with what you have on your charts. It's quite a complicated subject, isn't it? About when you should follow instruction.
Virtual 073, contact Liverpool Tower on 126.355.
Contacting Liverpool Tower 126.355, virtual 073. Good day. Liverpool Tower, virtual 073, on approach, runway 09, engaged on localizer.
Virtual 73, Liverpool Tower identified. Virtual 73, Liverpool Tower, wind 050 at 7, runway 9er, cleared to land.
Clear to land, runway 9er, virtual 073. So we got the approach mode on, so it should capture the ILS. So we just need to start pulling the flaps in.
Golf Oscar Juliet, runway 09er cleared for the requested appearance. Wind 040 at 10.
So we're bringing the flaps in now. Do you know what? I'm going to fly this in because I hate using autopilots to do this sort of thing. So let's press head tracking off, or on even. Autopilot off. And let's fly it. It's much more fun. So we've got the instrumentation to follow to get a halfway decent. It's a bit windy, isn't it? So we're being blown to the left gently. So let's just correct for that. Gear down. Whoa, the flaps really kicked us in the air then. So I'm just correcting for it. Watching the speed, don't want to be much less than 1,000. Oh, we're falling now below the glide slope. It's interesting how this airplane's behaviour changes as you change its configuration. Oh, I know why. I'm just putting the flaps back to not their final setting. That threw out air brakes. I'll explain it in a moment. This was in the notes of the airplane from the developer, and I've just remembered it. I went full flaps, that would have thrown brakes as well. So I'm just going to climb us back onto the glide slope. It's a feature of the aeroplane. So when you get onto the runway, you can go full flaps, and it actually does like crow braking. Yeah, I did actually read that in the notes. They sent an email, even though they hadn't got any documentation yet. They did note, they noted some of the special features of the aircraft.
50.
slide. It's a little bit twitchy. I'll just show you that from outside. If I go full flaps, yeah, see what happens? It crow brakes. It extends actually the spoilers and the flaps way beyond their normal range.
Virtual 073, welcome to Liverpool. Contact ground on 121.955.
Contacting ground 121.955, virtual 073, good day. Liverpool ground, virtual 073, departing runway 09, requesting taxi to general aviation parking.
Virtual 073, taxi to general aviation parking via Foxtrot, Alpha, Whiskey. Have a good day.
Taxi via Foxtrot, Alpha, Whiskey, virtual 073. Foxtrot, Alpha, where's Whiskey? T, K, I can't see Whiskey anywhere. Can we get a better chart of the airfield layout? So if we go to charts and go for taxi stands Alpha, Whiskey's the far end, okay. So taxi lights are on. Yeah, I completely forgot about the crow braking facility that you can use once you're on the runway, obviously, to shorten the takeoff run. It's really cool. Obviously, it massively affected the aerodynamics. Aha! So LivToAir's been watching. Oh my word! Hopefully, I've done the aeroplane justice then with my botched approach, but we recovered it and did a nice smooth landing. But yeah, great aeroplane. Like I said, the only thing I've kind of spotted is this flickering of the fire warning lights, but I'm sure that will get fixed. Oh, and also the pilot, for some reason, is sat at the back of the fuselage. So Whiskey's right at the far end on the right, isn't it? I'm going to stay behind this. Come on, get a move on. Yeah, I guess because this isn't a study level version of the airport, you're not actually going to get all of the, or not study level's the wrong word. It's not a high fidelity version of the airport. We're just going to find some park area out of the way.
After departure, clear to exit controlled airspace and above. 1500 feet via turn fully roundabout DRP. Runway 27, squawk 5054, Golf Charlie Hotel. Golf Charlie Hotel, read back correct.
Okay,
Liverpool ground, Golf Charlie Hotel, requesting engine start.
Let's see what we can do. I wonder if there's any Easter eggs. What does the pen do if we click on it? That's funny. Start to disengage. So I presume. Will it shut the engines down? Or do we just pull the throttles back to shut off? There we go. Like I said earlier, we're learning as we go with everything, so it's no surprise that I'm taking a couple of goes to figure some things out. pitot heat can come off. The passenger safety lights can go off now. The anti-collision light can come off. The air source can go off. The generators can come off. The emergency exit light can be off. The standby flight display can come off. And we're almost there. So I don't think there's anything we need to do up here. So we can just turn off the airplane, and we're cold and dark. So the only problem is you can't switch the tablet on unless you've got the batteries on for the airplane. So we'll do that. And then we can... I promised we'd have a look around outside. If we go and unlock and open everything, and we'll connect the GPU as well, so you get to see it. And if we go backspace, and we can go, oh no, sorry, Shift X will give us the drone camera, which is a much nicer way to do this. So we've got some nice carpeting inside the front area. We have got steps here. We can click on them if we're not in drone camera to get them to unfold. So let's try that. So if we go out of here and walk around the corner and click on them, and it skips to walk around as 2024 tends to, which is really frustrating, but they do stay in place though, unlike the Asobo aircraft. So and now we've lost the drone camera position, and again that's a 2024 thing. It's nothing to do with the airplane. And the pilot's disappeared now. So has he gone back to his seat? He has. So how come the pilot was sat at the back of the aeroplane? That's a question for LivToAir. We had the pilot sat underneath the coat hanger at the back of the aeroplane throughout the flight, and I'm not sure what triggered it to do that. I obviously did something unexpected while just meddling with the doors or something. But it's just to make you aware of that, really. So if we do go back inside the aeroplane, can we interact with any of this stuff? Yes, we can. And if we go further down, can we... What is clickable? We can open the toilet. Oh, don't tell me they have. Yeah, they have. Oh my word, it's how many things can developers sneak into airplanes these days, isn't it?
This is Midland 84 Victor, stand 5-2 for IFR clearance to Bristol.
So, can we do anything else? Yeah, we can turn the lights on. Oh my word.
Victor departure 09, initially 4,000, departure is 119.855, and the
so you can control the window shutters as well. Oh my, that's fantastic.
Skyhawk Golf Bravo Quebec start, approved advise when ready to taxi.
So the only thing I would say about this is the textures aren't quite high enough resolution. So if they were, it would be wonderful. But I understand, you know, that sort of thing is so difficult to do. Yeah, so the textures around here look great, absolutely fantastic, but then I'm not a scenery or aircraft developer myself, so I don't know how difficult those things are to achieve. Or how to source that data. It's probably really tough to get access to the real airplane to photograph it in extreme detail like that. Yeah, we've got a few flickering issues here and there, but nothing that's going to detract from flying the airplane. That's great fun though. I love this airplane, it's good. It's nice to have an alternative to... Oh, that's interesting. I've just turned the battery off and now it's on. Is that because we've got doors and things open? So if we close everything again and then turn it off again. Nope. Oh, I put it to emergency, sorry. I'm being an idiot. There we go. So that was the CJ3. Oh, I've left all the flaps open now. I'm going to leave it there. But yeah, that's great fun. There's obviously a lot of little Easter eggs and things hidden inside it if you want to go wandering around, pulling levers and pressing buttons. Yeah, interesting aeroplane. It flew wonderfully. So yeah, it did exactly what I asked of it. There was a few little catches where I had to find my way, but that's just learning the aeroplane. And obviously once it's got some documentation, that should answer a lot of those questions, I guess. So, but it was simple enough that having flown a few different planes in the sim, I could jump in and without any documentation, found our way around it and flew it without too much trouble and followed ATC instruction and got into Liverpool in one piece. There we go. So I'm going to leave it there. Hopefully you enjoyed that. So keep an eye out for the airplane being released. I'm guessing LivToAir will be able to tell us where it will be available to buy. Because I have no idea at the moment where it's going to be marketed. They'll obviously be in talks to upload it to various places. It should be good. Okay, I'm going to leave it there, and I'll see you again soon. Take care.